Hello, my name is Dr. Beverly Keever, a professor of journalism at the University of Hawaii. This webcast is a resource module in the campaign by the Peace Journalism Research Project, funded by the Toda Institute for Global Peace and Policy Research, to examine the role of the media in producing a culture of global violence and to curb its extent and effects. The 20th century has been burdened by a legacy of mass destruction and violence, inflicted on a scale never seen and never possible before in human history, according to Nelson Mandela in World Report on Violence and Health, published by the World Health Organization. The World Report also catalogs causes of day-to-day violence around the world in 6 regions and in more than 100 countries. In recommending ways for primary prevention, the World Report calls on media campaigns to change attitudes, behavior, and social norms. The purpose of this webcast is twofold. The first is designed to raise awareness about the importance of avoiding the inappropriate use of the language of killing. And the second is avoiding the use of euphemisms to gloss over or cover up examples of violence. This webcast features Professor Emeritus Glenn Paige, a University of Hawaii political scientist, talking to my class in global communications. Professor Paige has worked on promoting nonviolence through the writing of his book, Nonkilling Global Political Science. He advocates the media operate from the presumption that a non-killing society is, in fact, possible.
Thank you for inviting me. I understand the purposes of this our meeting today is first to increase awareness of the use of violent language in the media and everyday life. The first one. The second purpose is invite your creativity in discovering nonviolent alternatives that will contribute to universally desired reduction of violence from the family to the entire global community. Now, example of language. When we have young ladies who are really dressed up, to go out, what do we say? She's dressed to kill, huh? Dressed to kill. Now, I'll ask you, what's a good alternative to that? She's dressed to?
Be. Impress.
Go ahead, impress. Another one? Dressed to thrill? Not bad, huh? Dressed to impress? Dressed to attract? Dressed to something. So, it's conventional life. Our English language is full of these kinds of things. How about a handsome man? He's a lady killer. Okay? Most people would know that. All right. What's an alternative?
He's good looking.
He's good looking. He's a handsome boy, handsome man.
Lady charmer.
A lady what?
Charmer.
Lady charmer. That's nice. Yeah, that's good. Well, lady thriller. Here we go. All right. Dressed to thrill and a lady thriller. So that means gender getting along well, and it makes the point, but it's not lethal. Isn't it? She's dressed to kill somebody, or she's dressed that somebody would want to kill her. Or he's, a lady killer, and too many males do that. So why use that type of imagery?
I brought the file that you gave me when we first talked about having this interview, and maybe you could just go through it and explain some of the reasons that you pulled out these specific ones and sort of illustrate some of our. This is a good one for Hawaii here, the birds of paradise. Comment about that.
It's just an example of inappropriate laboring. The Blue Angels, the Navy's precision flying team over Hawaii, and whoever does this, I don't know who does this, an editor?
Yes.
Who puts the labor on it?
Yes.
They're called birds of paradise. But The Navy term is the Blue Angels. So somebody in the media, to localize it, why he calls it birds of paradise. They're actually killing machines designed to kill. When people really use lethal language, and it's a quotation, like kill all the pigs, is something I mentioned about the South Central Los Angeles people after the Rodney King verdict absolved the policeman for violence. So the slogan was kill all the pigs. But so you have to quote that in journalism. That's what they said. Then the issue is, what do you do after that? You mentioned there would be an editorial comment, or now we've said kill all the pigs. What are the implications of saying that? It's dehumanizing them. What are the reasons they do say that? And how do we work toward conditions where we don't have to kill policemen and we don't have to kill each other, so the policemen have to come and stop us from killing each other, you know? So it's more complicated. The journalists, the editors, or the readers, everybody has to think more about this idea of how do we reach a non-killing society.
Here's another good example. Maybe you want to just talk about...
What's this?
This is on the sports page.
Oh, annihilate the bows. The Aztecs annihilate the bows. It's just a football game. But in football, the sports writers call players weapons. Certain formations called a shotgun weapon. That's a shotgun formation. A long pass is called a long bomb. Teams are often said to lack the killer instinct. That's why they're losing. So it's all in sports. It's all over the place. Using military language in sports. On the other hand, the military and the media also use sports terms for military exercise, like they're called war games. War games. A game. War is a game. Or and many things. They would talk about military activity as a football game. Depends what sport you're in. I guess the culture that you're involved. American football has a lot of it. American baseball doesn't have so much of that language in it, except the tradition of yelling, kill the umpire when you don't like a call, or something like that. And it has been quite violent as a sport, but the language of baseball is not so bad as football. What else we got?
Well, a lot of this seems to show up in the headlines, so it maybe is the editors and the headline writers that have to be more conscious of it. Here's a good one on a politics. Tax hike on vehicles draws heavy flack. Well, the lead is a lot more complicated than that. The political maneuvering in the city council.
Yeah.
But the headline writer brought in heavy flack there.
Yeah. And flak is anti-aircraft fire. They're designed to down airplanes. So that's flak. It's a World War II term. I don't think it's used so much now as the World War II generation dies off. Probably only the old headline writers will use the term. But it is inappropriate use of a violent term.
Okay, here's a good example coming about a media story in which they do the same thing. Dan Rather takes pot shot at TV news.
Just shoots. A pot shot means just taking a quick aim and firing quickly. That type of language is used.
But here's kind of the same idea. This is just above letters to the editor. Readers shoot down proposal to disarm police. Well, again, this is the headline writer who is trying to make it fit into the word count
putting it on
and make it dramatic and so on. But we should be, as you're saying, more creative.
Yeah, we've got to make nonviolence as happy, as joyful, as interesting, as engaging as the violent language. This violent language is being used to, of course, attract attention, to make you pay attention of it. and also to gear it up to some kind of emotion. I mean, it's linked up to emotion that we have related to either fear for our security or our aggressiveness or something. It's playing on fear and aggressiveness, I think, in a certain way. And then just, it's gratuitous in that sense. And on the other sense, when we're really killing, we're really supporting with our taxes, our lives, or sending our children and recruiting and training and fighting and so forth. We cover those, we allow them to cover those things up with peacemakers, peace builders, Department of Defense. It was the War Department and became Department of Defense. That's a euphemism, defense. And I think we'll see probably another couple, eventually we'll see it called the Department of Peace, probably. From now on, I want to just ask a lot of questions. How would you translate the word non-killing in any one of those languages that you know? Those people who have another language. Now, the English word is non-killing. N-O-N-K-I-L-L-I-N-G, non-killing.
Instead of just adding a word to negate the action, use a word that contradicts the action, like using a word like that just replaces it, that has nothing to do with killing. Maybe it has something to do with the action itself.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Because even though you're negating killing, you're still using the word killing.
Yeah, that's right. But you want to keep attention on the act of killing. It's the behavior you want to point to. If you have another word, if I'm going to kill you, and that act is killing, give me a word that's not killing, but means I don't kill you.
But it means I don't kill you, but you still want to kill me?
No, I don't. I want a language that encompasses the meaning of not taking life. You could say love, but yeah, love. Or you can say peace, U.S. Air Force. Peace is our mission, right? Peace is our mission. But I want something that says non-killing is our mission, see? And I got to keep that in there.
Living. Living is our mission.
Sure, exactly.
Saving.
Absolutely. Saving life is our mission. Right, okay? Something. But it's got to be, but saving life by killing, I want to suggest 4 things that you need to know and your reader needs to know. One is the causes of killing. Solve a disease, you want to know what causes it, what it is, and what causes it. That's absolutely essential. The next thing you need to know, number 2, is what's the causes of non-killing. Why people don't kill each other. It fits the New Orleans and the Katrina right now. Why do some people in the poorest, most miserable parts of that city are not killing? And few are. Gangs and so on. How about the people, same background, same situation, they're not killing? That's a good story. It's not being covered, they just covered the violence. All right, number 3, you need to know the causes of shifting from killing to non-killing. And back. What causes people to change? Okay, number 4. What are the characteristics of killing-free society? What kind of societies won't kill? What kind of society would it be? You name it. What kind of child rearing? What kind of sports? What kind of religion? What kind of education? What kind of national security? What kind of police? What kind of law? What kind of defense? What would it be like? This number 4 is wide open. This is what a university should be. It should be the non-killing University of Hawaii, playing its role in America, in the state, in the Pacific, in the world. Now the brains of the faculty and the students here, they should be working on, okay, what causes killing? Let's look it in the face. Why are people not killing? Let's look at that. Number two, let's look at what the changes are. But more than that, let's look at what our resources, our disciplines, our family life, our social resources. What kind of creativity can we get going here? Now, there's a study done by the World Health Organization in 2002. Take this down and read it. It's almost like a Bible. World Report on Violence and Health. WHO, 2002. Any media person, TV, whatever it is, ought to have that in their background of their education. It's the first global study of killing, over 100 countries. The statistics in the back, by male, by female, age, over 100 countries. 1.6 million people were killed in the year 2000, roughly. 50% suicide, 30% homicide, and 20% by war. Now that would, it'll vary, it depends. But this is the first time anyone counted the bodies globally. First time. Now I know statistics hard to get, but it's very important. So once you see that, and all chapters, there are chapters of violence against children, violence against women, all kinds of violence. 160 authors, 6 continents, a first world look at it. And the conclusion of that book is exactly the same as the conclusion of this book. The World Health Organization, 3 years ago, and the 2 books came out the same year, their conclusion is that human violence is a curable disease. It's not pessimism. And they're saying we must overcome the pessimism that people can stop killing and stop abusing each other. And it's a curable disease, and they call upon the governments, the scholars, the media, the whole thing. And we're going to take human violence just like we're taking polio, diabetes, AIDS, cancer, heart trouble, all the other diseases, and we just mobilize what you need: research, you need training, you need programming, you need resources, you need implementation, you need air, sea, and ground forces, you need massive stuff, and you go out and you say, we're going to eliminate human killing on the globe just the way we put a person on the moon.